Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11grinds. Here to take a look at pitching for today, the 9th of August. It is Sunday and we do have a 10-game main slate. This is a first look at the pitching options, technically. I did kind of look at it a little bit. And I am looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, as I was saying, I did kind of look at the slate and the pitching options a little bit ago, and my first thought is, I think this is disgusting. I really don't like many spots at all today on either sides of things, right? Like, it just feels like a slate that's going to end up being the quote-unquote typical Sunday slate where we just get some different things. I don't really know what to expect out of a couple of these matchups. There are a couple stances I'd like to take, but they don't feel great. Really, it's a slate that kind of makes me feel uneasy. So sometimes, you get those slates, and those are the slates that you absolutely crush on. But it just doesn't feel great. So enough of that rambling. Let's just look at the pitching options. And, we're trying to trim the pool down from, what do we have, 21 pitchers, because Boston's going with a long reliever, even though I don't know if it's for sure Bayo, but it might be. The goal is to try to cut this number in half or so. At least trim a third of it to, 2/5. Then that gives us, fewer names to work with and try to figure out over the next hour and a half or so. So let's just jump in. The A's, Boston. A's, Gage jumped the big leverage play yesterday. Absolutely dominated Boston. Boston has been such a hot team that I wouldn't be shocked if they just come right back out and, put up 10 runs today after yesterday's dud, or close to a dud. It wasn't a full dud, but the big question is, what do we do on the other side? Do we believe that Brian Bayo is going to be the long reliever? I have question marks. He did throw 2 innings a couple days ago. He threw 3 innings 2 days before that as well. I'm just not sure if he's somebody that can react and come back that quickly or not. I don't know. He's been a starting pitcher the entire time of his professional career, I believe. At least his major league career for sure. But so can he go have a day off, go have 2 days off, and then go again? I'm not necessarily sure. So we're going to need to pay attention. He has been really good when he follows an opener. And I've been picking on the A's a lot recently. So he's somebody I'm going to consider, but I want to wait to see if I find out any information. For sure, we might not get the kind of the exact thoughts of the Red Sox. As they list here, as Brian Bayo is a candidate to work in bulk relief. That doesn't mean he is for sure. So a lot of question marks for me. It could, maybe it won't be a full bullpen game. They do play tomorrow, even though Sonny Gray does start tomorrow. I'm just not sure. If you told me Bayo was for sure going to pitch, I'd consider it. But even then, with his recent usage, does he throw more than like 2 to 3 innings? I'm not so sure. Toronto, Philadelphia. I think both pitchers are in play. Bieber in 3 out of his last 4 has been really solid or strong. The one where he wasn't, he was atrociously bad. Philadelphia has been a bit of an underwhelming offense. They have kind of awoken a little bit since the Arise trade, and I think he brings them some energy, etc. But there are a number of bats in that lineup that have been struggling too. Schwarber's been kind of MIA for a while. Brandon Marsh has been on a wicked slide since he started out, I don't know, majority of the first half leading the National League in hitting. I think Bieber's in play. I don't play Shane Bieber very often, but definitely today. Luzardo, I'm going to play him. Toronto doesn't strike out a whole lot, but they've traditionally just been not very good against left-handed pitching, despite having a lineup that looks like it should do well against left-handed pitching. 1 earned or fewer allowed in 7 of 8 starts, 8 of 10, 2 or fewer in 9 of 10. Just great spots for Luzardo. May not have his true K upside, but he did dominate this Toronto team earlier this season. He's a little weaker at home. His ERA is approaching 5 at home. That's kind of gross. But even with that ERA, he's still averaging 17 DK points per performance at home. So Luzardo certainly worth spending up for. Jared Jones has a ton of upside. 2 starts approaching 30 over his last month, I guess. Last 5. But aside from that, he's been at 19 or fewer. I think I'm going to end up playing him, but I'm just not sure yet. His underlying numbers at home are filthy and dominating. Probably getting a little unlucky in the runs allowed categories. K rate takes a little bit of a hit, but I think he's somebody that just is probably good enough on this slate. Speaking of somebody that's probably good enough on this slate, Sean Manaea. Pittsburgh strikes out a ton. I think there's solid upside. Maybe not a ton of upside overall, but somebody that probably could be around 20 fantasy points in the start. 2 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5. So the walks came up last start, so hopefully he gets that back. I think Sean Manaea is probably somebody that we're just going to end up overweight on, just based on the slate that we do have at this point. Atlanta, New York, you get Schlittler. Holmes, not somebody I'm interested in. Coming off of, his best start of the season, arguably. Start before that, though, he gave up 3 home runs. So giving up home runs in this ballpark can happen. I'm going to pass, but I would not be shocked if he actually, was owned in the double digits, just because the Yankees do offer some strikeout upside. Right now, he does look like he's projected at 12.5% ownership. The other side, you get Cam Schlittler coming off of an atrocious start. Now, he is weakest when at home. He looks more like a number 2 or 3 starter when he pitches at home. Probably a number 3, really. Just 2 and 4 in 10 starts. So a lot of numbers take a hit when he's at home. So it is dangerous. I'm going to play him just because, he just has the upside. It's not like he can't perform when he's at home. He has a 40 spot against Cincinnati at home. I think that's easily his best start at home. But he does have upside. It's just far more volatile. So I think I would prefer Luzardo over him for, I guess, which one's going to be higher owned for me on this slate. Miami and the Angels. Ryan Gusto, do we have to consider him against the Angels? I don't think so. 51 pitch. Oh, I should scroll up. Correct number. 79-83, so he's getting extended a little bit. I just don't know if he's going to have enough upside. He looked pretty good against Atlanta. Maybe we need to consider him. He's looking at 12.5% ownership from a projected standpoint. That's got to be just opposition-based only, because I don't know what kind of upside he really offers us in this spot. On the other side, Grayson Rodriguez, 2 earned or allowed in each of his last 2 starts, 98 pitches in each. Extended out, 21 fantasy points last time out against his former squad. I don't think I'm getting to Grayson. I would love to see him actually finish out the season solidly to kind of get back to that, hype that he once had. It'll never return to that same level, I don't believe, though. Cleveland, the White Sox, you get Cantillo, really up and down recently. 2 starts of 22 plus over his last 5, and then 3 starts of 11 or fewer. I've been picking on the White Sox, and I'm going to kind of continue to do it, especially with left-handed pitching. Vargas was amazing against lefties for a while, but he's definitely fallen off. Grichuk as well. He's kind of coming back down to earth. They made some additions, etc., but still, I think Cantillo's got some upside. He is worse on the road, which is a worry. He just allows a ton of base runners. It's another worry. He might be somebody that better fit to be played on FanDuel, but I am going to sprinkle him in. Davis Martin's been pretty bad for the last 2 months, and I'm just going to continue to pass on Davis Martin. He struggled with the Guardians earlier. Now, his home numbers have been elite on the season, but still, that negative regression has definitely hit him hard. Cubs, KC. I'm not getting to Dobnak. I'm going to debate Matthew Boyd, but he just doesn't feel like somebody I'm overly excited to play. He does his best pitching on the road, so that's obviously something to pay attention to. He does have 21 plus in 3 out of his last 6 starts over the last month. So maybe, just maybe, we have to include Boyd on this particular slate. It feels like a slate where I don't love a whole lot, so Boyd probably makes the cut. Minnesota, Milwaukee. Connor Prelip, 23 plus in 2 out of his last 4 starts. So he's throwing the ball better. The walks increasing recently. He does have double-digit strikeout upside. I don't expect him to get there against the Brewers in terms of double-digit strikeouts, but 24.5 fantasy points. His second highest fantasy scoring start of the season came against this Milwaukee team. I've said it for quite a while now that I prefer left-handed pitching against Milwaukee if I'm going to use a pitcher. I don't love his road splits. They've been really bad. But I kind of like the upside spot from a GPP purpose. So I am going to sprinkle in some Connor Prelip. Mizorowski on the other side. We're just going to use Mizorowski. Double the strikeouts in 4 of his last 5. 65, 83, and 83 in the pitches. So they might still be limiting him from a pitch count standpoint. So there's always a chance we only get 5 or 6 innings out of him because of everything. But even in 5 or 6 innings, he has a high likelihood of being the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. Colorado, St. Louis, you get McGreevy versus Lorenzen. I am debating using McGreevy. I'm probably not going to get there. His numbers at home are decent. He's not a big K guy. He does get some K upside in the matchup, but I would much rather play a left-handed pitcher. Obviously, Liberatore struggled mightily against them. Just 6 total innings over his last 2 starts. Not ideal. He only gave up 2 runs last one and still only went 4 1/3. So I think I'm just going to have to pass on McGreevy, but you wanted to play him. I probably wouldn't put up too much of an argument. Lorenzen, just not somebody I'm interested in. I don't really care. He's better on the road, but still, better is relative just because he is so bad at home. Baltimore, Texas, last game on the slate. Do we play Kumar Rocker? It's a great question. 25 plus fantasy points in 2 out of his last 3 starts. Both of those were at home, but then his previous 2 starts at home were really bad. Man, I think we do play some Rocker only because we just continue to pick on the Baltimore lineup. Jackson Holliday's moved into the number 3 spot. It's just not a great lineup right now. On the other side, Povich, a left-handed pitcher. His first start back in the majors after 3 months was dominant. It was against the Angels, so take that with a grain of salt. Baz and Bradish haven't been bad. Baz was awesome. Bradish wasn't terrible against Texas. Now, it is a lefty, but I do think left-handed pitchers are best against Texas, even though I think I'm kind of going against some splits there. It's just that lineup, when I look at it, just does not scream avoid. But maybe I should just look into the numbers more. Either way, I am going to play some Povich because he does have upside. And the slate kind of needs those pitchers with upside. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options on the slate. If you enjoyed what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., there will be a link in the description below. You can use promo code BOOK, B-O-O-K, get you 20% off any membership on the website. There's a link to the merch store. Check out my hoodie, some of the other designs. Hit the comments. Let me know, what are you doing with Schlittler? That's my big question. And as always, best of luck, everybody.